Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video we're going to be doing a little bit of a chit chat about the Super Pocket, the Data East edition with 18 built-in games like Burger Time, Bad Dude vs Dragon Ninja, and Joe and Mac the Caveman Ninja. However, a lot of ninjas, that is one thing, but the point is that these devices are quite interesting. You can revisit the old school arcade games on a budget, because these things are a little bit cheaper than your typical Evercade device. So what's kind of interesting that this thing comes with easy mode, yep, for the younger players. So, and then of course it comes with a 2.8 inches of an IPS panel, 4 hours plus of gaming time. We can implement Evercade cartridges, so we can expand with different kind of games, rechargeable batteries, and then we're having the USB-C for charging. So with the extension, or at least we can add new games with all kinds of cool games that we're also going to be checking out here on the channel. So consider subscribing and hit the little bell. So there are still new ones coming out, having some games like Duke Nukem, having the Windjammers. I find it absolutely cool to see that we have all kinds of collections. The only thing I do hope in the future they keep, like say, producing them. Otherwise they're going to be having these overpriced cartridges, because some of them are like 15 bucks, some are like 25, and they're like great prices if you get a couple of games. However, if they're going to be like collectible and they're going to be super expensive and you're going to be paying 50 or even more for it, then in my opinion it's not worth it. But when you're going to be ordering one of these devices, they come with built-in games, so you're ready to go. You don't need to buy any cartridges, so I think that is going to be a very cool thing. They also had the option to just make like these limited editions and don't add games. But of course, if you think about it, that makes no sense. But it would not be the first time we've seen it with other companies creating all kinds of different devices. I'm always ripping up these boxes, by the way. They're like very thin cardboard. So if you're going to be buying this for collectible reasons, I would not actually open it up or be very careful. But for me, I'm always ripping them up. So we're having over here the Super Pocket. Let's see what's going on with some explanation about the device itself, what you can do with it, how does it work, and etc. One of the things I'm really curious about how it's going to be with the audio because of the main menu. So one of the things is that this thing does have like a very nice weight to it, and yeah, I think this is going to be a very nice color. Blue is my favorite color, but I love the Data East color scheme with this orange and blue. This is kind of cool. I love it. I really love it. So the mold itself is the same. So if you've seen my previous videos, the mold of the device is the same. There's nothing much going on over there. So to begin with, like I also have a Neo Geo version. How cool would it be to have like the 6-button layout? So they're going to be doing all kinds of cool new add-ons, like maybe a different joystick or stuff like that. Or yeah, that would be cool if they're making that kind of additions. But again, this is like easier to produce. That is something, of course, of a situation that if we're going to be like recreating or putting a different kind of colors theme, that's going to be so much more cheaper to do. But let's power that on. And the display, already mentioned, is a 2.8 inches of IPS foam. Yeah, and that is one of the things I do like about these devices, that they come with a decent display. Okay, so over here, let's boot it up. The overall audio comes here from the middle. They have the same kind of menu style and all when it comes to the background music. Over here we're going to be choosing the language. You can see there are a lot of languages, like a lot of them. So in here we can choose easy mode, normal mode. We're going for the authentic arcade experience. At this part you're going to be selling your soul, not to actually Google and making an account, but I mean particularly when it comes to Data East, so yeah, or these devices. Yeah, it's kind of interesting but also kind of weird. And we'll never get used to these things that you're going to be accepting. Make a pact with the almighty tech companies. At the bottom we're going to be finding the headphone jack, an on-off switch, and the USB-C for charging. But the charger is not included. You can just use yourself a normal, let's say 2-amp charger. That would be more than enough. And if you wonder, yep, it does come actually with a charging cable. A very long one, by the way. Volume control is located at the back over here. I'm very glad they went for a physical volume. I kind of weird why they went for everything on the back. Why not at the side over here? Also, you can just see there are some ventilation holes at the side. That's kind of weird. That would be an interesting option to actually get some stereo sound, where the overall audio is not bad itself. Still, listen to this yourself. As you can hear, it's not bad, absolutely not. So, but when it comes to the overall design, I must say the back buttons, you can actually see that they have like this very nice, let's say comfortable, let's say shape. And if you're going to be holding it, I want to say this is going to be the ultimate device. No, but still, it's great that you're using back buttons, volume button, already mentioned here. You can remove this piece of plastic. Man, the slides are very difficult. You can get more games, you can just actually scan that and put in your games here. Later on, I'm going to be testing that out throughout the video. But beside that, Data East Official License Edition. I am rejecting this bullshit. Ah! But also with the previous models, they are, so far I understand, the same. We're going to be having the button configuration of the button over here. And I must say the press itself is quite nice. Also the D-pad have like a very nice sturdy feel to it. And also when it comes to the shape itself, you can see they went for this curved shaped D-pad, not a floating configuration like we have seen with some of, let's say, devices from China. So, but in overall, it's not bad at all. One of the things I really want to point out is the display itself. So when you're going to be holding it for yourself the first time, you will notice it too. So you can actually see there is a little bit of a room between, let's say, the display and the front glass over there. And if you're going to be holding it like that, so on the camera you don't really notice it, but if you're going to be looking at it, it's a little bit more giving some depth about this. And that is kind of cool. And I mean, not in a bad way. When it comes to the front plexi, it's quite thick. It's not like the thickest plexi I've seen, but I do wonder how scratch sensitive it is. But let's do a quick overview of the games. We're having B-Wings. I think that is one of the games I particularly played for the first time on the NES. I think it's one, yeah, that was the one. Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja, another NES game I've actually played back in the day. Or this is actually the arcade one. But we're having Breakthrough, Burger Time, Burning Rubber, Chain Reaction, Crew Busters. I think there was also all the At Games Machine, Edward Randy, Gate of Doom, Joe and Mac Returns. Both of them are like on the At Games Machine too. So Karate Champ, Lock and Chase, and you know, Spin Master. Okay. Super Burger Time. I didn't even know there was a Super Burger Time. Seriously, like what the heck? Wizard Fire, what? So when it comes to playing games, I must say the overall configuration of the menu and everything, like this is working very fast. You don't have the weird loading time. So when in here we're having the option to make a quick load, quick save. What I really find cool that we're having the tiny screenshot over there. We can change out the controls, display settings within pixel perfect. So it will change out the resolution. We're having full screen original. You can actually see the preview over there that actually showcases how it's going to be. We're having scan lines. I love this preview, you know. It's kind of cool. Oh, it's horrible. Don't like it at all. But let's go with non-scan lines. Reset, and we're having quit over here. So when it comes to, let's say, the overall, let's say, way how this thing works, it's quite nice. Let's lower the lining. So, but when it comes to playing some old school games on the Evercade, so far it doesn't matter if it's like going to be these cheaper tech devices or like the bigger devices, the more expensive ones. I must always say that I'm very pleased with the overall performance of emulation when it comes to these plug and play devices. And with the Neo Geo version I've reviewed here on the channel, I also noticed that when it comes for fighting games, I must say the D-pad feels quite sturdy, but we're actually going to be playing, it's going to be absolutely fun. Let's go with loading, and as you can see it works perfectly, very fast. So when it comes to the overall menu and everything, Breakthrough, seriously, like, I have no idea what kind of game this is. You know, and that's kind of funny that you have all kinds of games that I've never played before. We can actually just check it out, you know, if they're going to be any fun. Let me know in the comments if you ever played one of these games that are pre-installed or not. Oh, this is just an interesting drive and shoot, or shoot 'em up. Yep, I messed it up. Well, let's see what we're going to be having. The Burger Time. So Burger Time is one of the games I've played mostly on the NES, where I think Burger Time is an interesting concept. It's not going to be my favorite game. Let's see if we can actually navigate like it's supposed to be. So where it is actually a fun game, what I mentioned before, it's not going to be one of my, let's say, favorite games to play. I'm more like a Pac-Man guy. So I'm actually waiting when they're going to be releasing a Pac-Man edition. Burning Rubber is one of those games that sounds so familiar, but I don't know exactly what it is. Is this a game I've been playing? No. Where these games were actually made for an upright cabinet. I do wonder one thing, can we actually mess around with the display? So let's say full screen. Oh, we can actually play it like full screen. Yeah, this looks absolutely horrible, that is one thing for sure. Pixel perfect. Whoa, okay, that makes it even more tinier than it already was. Yep, no, to give me at least like the original. I understand, like I mentioned before, it's like that they're going to be creating, like they're grabbing actually the same kind of mold for these devices and just doing all kinds of re-releases. And it would be cool to have like an upright, like a tiny handheld. Okay, this is really interesting. I mean, I've been playing a lot of these kind of similar games, but this one I've never seen before. That's interesting. So this is one of those games. Okay, what's it called? Chain Reaction. Okay, yeah, that is another ripoff from another game. Okay, yeah, okay. I've seen a lot of different games, but yeah, that was not one I'm going to be liking a lot. Crude dude. So when it actually comes to beat 'em ups, I must say that I may be a little bit too nitpicky. This is kind of a fun game, but this is not going to be a game I'm going to be spending hours and hours on. So for me, it's going to be in Street of Rage, Golden Axe. My particular Street of Rage is going to be one of my favorite all-time ever fighting games. The music, the vibe, but also the mechanics of the game were pretty good. But this feels mediocre. You know, when it comes to just fighting, it's just bashing buttons, and where this is actually a cool game, it's not going to be my favorite game. So let's make a save and let's continue that game. Okay, that was like the most horrible moment to actually make a save, to get a knife in the face or something he thrown at me. Yeah, okay. So moving on to another game. So let's see what's called, like Andy Ran Your Web. Let's see what's going on. I'm on the boat. What I'm doing? Oh, I'm just whipping. This is like the next level of Castlevania ripoff or what? That's the only thing I'm actually hear. Castlevania! Because I'm whipping everybody. Yeah. Gate of Doom. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this. I am going to be... Oh. I'm like a ninja. Yep, this is one of those games I did actually play. This was a really cool game. Oh man, this game is really brutal. Of course I needed to not use kit mode. So one of the things I really wanted to check it out is like how is the navigation going on when just using the D-pad. I must say, what I mentioned before, this thing does have like a very sturdy feel. Navigation is great, but you know, I personally would just loosen it up, the D-pad, so it's going to be easy to just navigate. Yeah. Got some really good soundtracks. Joe and Meg, man, this is such a fun game. This is one I've played a lot on the Ed Games machine. And the simple reason, because this is such a fun arcade game. You know, this is one of the favorite games, like puzzle games. But that makes me wonder, if you're going to be getting into the Joe Mac, the second or the sequel, let's see what's going on. Was this like the same kind of games, or was it more like the adventure game? No, this was more like the adventure game. Yeah, this game was also very cool. Didn't they also release this on the Super NES and stuff like that? I think they did. So one thing for sure is like, this game is going to be like quite brutal to play. One game I was really intrigued by is that Spin Master, but you can actually see when I had like instant loading times, this one took a little bit longer to actually load up. Spin Master is such. Yeah, you can just hear the bleeping sound. That was something they released on the Neo Geo. Well, I can have it completely wrong, but I thought it was like one of those semi-Neo Geo games you can actually play. We do have like an ultimate move. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think this is one of the first, I think it was like on Neo Geo, I've played this before. So it sounds so really familiar. Okay. But there are all kinds of different games on here. So the last one is going to be Karate Champ, to see what's going on. Another upright cabinet game. With like the massive black bars at the left and the side. Okay. Seriously, like, I don't know how it's with you, but I'm not getting excited about this. But what is interesting, that Data East Collection #1, they released already in Data East Collection. And when it comes to the collection, they already ported a couple of games. So one of the things I do notice with this particular one is like the games. Jesus. This is the first time I had like a little bit of trouble. But let's go to the menu over here. So we can actually go to the settings, what you already seen before. Difficulty can change back if you find the game too difficult. But with the Evercade in here, we're having the cartridge. There's nothing much going on. We do have like Fighters History, so that is a game that isn't like pre-installed. Magical Drop is actually one of those games that I want to have on here, because Magical Drop is cool. The other game that was on there I already mentioned before, like showcased, is in my opinion some like say simple rip-off. So let's start up, but this magical game is I can say like magical game, because this is such a cool game. I'm always pressing the wrong freaking button. I need to keep pressing start. Yeah, let's choose normal. So I think the kits and normal difficulty of the device is not implemented on the cartridges. Nevertheless, when you're going to be playing this is going to be working perfectly, and there are so many different games that we can actually play. So we can also remove the cartridge if you just want to play. Yep, it's keep playing because it's going to be loading up the cartridge into the system itself. You're going to be exiting, then we'll ask you there is no cartridge entered and we cannot get into the game itself. The Super Pocket, the Data East Edition. I think it's kind of cool that they're releasing all kinds of different models, and particularly for me it goes when it comes to the color theme. Yeah, the built-in games are absolutely an extra bonus if you like them. So if you just want to buy a certain device for a color theme and you don't care about the games, yeah, that's going to be a shame. However, you can always like expand them with different kind of cartridges, and you can actually see that they're re-releasing games that they've been releasing on the cartridge on the game system. And that's a convenient part, because if these things are getting rare, some of them, and the game is actually on the device, it's going to be so much more convenient, because some of the cartridges can become very expensive. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Data East? Do you think it's actually worth picking up? I think it's a funny, fun collection, but for me it's not like it's going to be like this ultimate collection of favorite games. Like the Magical Drop rip-off game was kind of cool, but if you're going to be looking into what kind of games really appeal to me, maybe Joe Mac, but besides that, there's nothing much going on. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.